If these four players are on your fantasy team, you need to trade them away before week 4. Chris Olave is leading the NFL in targets, but he's only 24th among wide receivers in fantasy points. It's extremely concerning to see this level of inefficiency, which is partly Olave's fault, but mostly on the horrible quarterback play from the Saints. We know his production Olave's given through the first 3 weeks is quite literally his ceiling, turning 12.3 targets a game into 13.2 fantasy points per game, with no game over 15.7 points, shows that there is zero upside for Olave in fantasy. Trade him off to a team who just sees the raw target numbers and decides to give up way too much for this guy. J.K. Dobbins has been crushing and turning heads in fantasy, but things are about to change. He scored from 14.8 to 15.5 points all 3 weeks, but Dobbins is a perfect sell high candidate for some huge red flags. First is that his rushing attempts have decreased every week since week 1. This team wants to work in explosive rookie RJ Harvey, and it's going to be at Dobbins' expense. Second is that Dobbins has 4 catches for 14 yards on the entire season. He's never been and never will be a receiving back in his whole career, which severely caps his PPR appeal. Lastly, he's at a touchdown every week. He very well could keep his role at the goal line as the season progresses, but he's so reliant on these touchdowns since he has no receiving upside. Dobbins simply won't score double-digit fantasy points unless he finds the end zone. Deal him to a manager scrambling to replace their injured RBs. Kelce's projected 11.3 points on ESPN, and this is the best situation he's going to find himself for the rest of the season. Xavier Worthy's coming back this week, and Rashee Rice will be back from suspension in 3 weeks. Once these two come back, Kelce's role in the offense will be diminished. So you'd assume he's been doing great while Worthy and Rice are out, but Kelce doesn't have more than 4 catches in a game this year. He's the tight end 11 through 3 games, and he'll see even less volume as the season progresses. There are tight ends on waivers who produce comparably to Kelce. Get any trade value out of him that you can. In fantasy, Alvin Kamara has been able to survive in the past because of receiving usage, but this year he only has 1 game with more than 2 targets. He hasn't been very efficient running the ball either, averaging 3.7 yards per carry. This is a bad combination for any running back, but this is much worse news for the running back in the league's worst offense. The Saints' repeated game script from playing behind prevents Kamara from getting volume running the ball, and he isn't getting enough targets late in the game to make up for that. There's also a risk the team tanks and shuts him down more and more as the season goes on, and we get closer to the fantasy playoffs when you need that production. Get rid of Kamara before it's too late.